first lab, I wanted to show you how to do that. So we'll go over to the lab. And here's the lab itself, and this is where you're going to turn it in. Within the lesson here, there's going to be a link to the graded assignment. And if you have Word, you can go ahead and click that link and use Word document. Or if you don't have Word or would rather work in a Google Doc, this is where you'll find the link. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. But the thing is I can't put this link inside this lesson here, so I have to make a little note outside the lesson right here, which tells you that this is the link. So when you're doing a lab, it's a good idea to look for any notes underneath it before you click here to open up the directions in the lesson and the lab. Just look for notes. And then the other thing is there's another note down here where it talks about how you're going to need to draw a topographical map in the lab, and you'll hand draw it on a piece of paper. You can also use the tool that I'm about to use, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then whatever you do though, however you get that picture, you're going to have to either take a picture of it, of your drawing, and upload it into your document. You could bring it into the Learning Center and give it to one of the teachers that will give it to me. Be sure to get the teacher's name so that I know where it is. And also you could do what I'm about to do, show you on the computer, and take a screenshot of it and put it into your document. I would recommend if you do hand it in by hand to a teacher that you take a picture of it just as a backup. But the best thing to do, the easiest, would be just to download that picture onto your document. So I'm going to open this up, the Google Doc, so we can take a look at what this is. Okay, so here are the lab directions. And it tells you that note again about having to do a drawing for this lab. Now let's go here to access the lesson. So you're going to learn about topographic maps, and you're going to read through this part. There's a bunch of links here that you'll need. Let's take a look real quick. Now, like I said, this one's a PDF, so you should be able to get it if you have Adobe Reader on your computer. And this kind of tells you what you're going to be doing, the instructions, and the procedures. So I told you that you really don't need the student guide for your lessons because all it is just an outline to help you with your notes. But for your labs, you really should use the student guide because it gives you right here what you're going to be needing to do. Okay, so that's that. There's some instructions here, and it looks like those instructions are going to download. So let's take a look at those directions. I'm going to pause real quick and I'll come back. So I just opened that. It just took me a while to open it. That's why I paused. But what we have here is another, these are the directions to your lab. You're going to draw a topographic map. You're going to create a model, and you're going to make a rough draft of your imaginary island. You want to have a hill, a valley, a cliff, a bay, or a stream. And then you also want to have the name of your island, a compass direction, a horizontal scale, a legend that shows what the land, the water, the streams, or any features on your map. Vertical units, use meters for your vertical units, and each contour interval will be 50 meters. Now, if that sounds confusing to you, let's take a look at what they're talking about here. So you're going to get a pencil and a piece of paper. You're going to start by doing your coastline. So this is just, you're drawing a map. And this is the outside of the island. Okay, so this is at 0 meters, meaning you're right at the ocean here, and the ocean's always 0 feet or meters. We're going to use meters here. And so you're at sea level. A good idea is to make your river right away, or a creek that goes through the island, since that's one of the features you need to be doing, the stream. Because when streams come down, they'll actually erode the beaches along in here. So that's why you end up with just kind of an indentation, because this water that's constantly coming down is pushing that sand out. And so you'll always end up like this on a regular land or an island. And then they're telling you, go ahead and maybe put a couple of tops of your mountains here. So this will be like the highest line. You can continue to, and this is like step by step. So now you're not going to do, this is all going to be one picture. It's not going to be all these multiple pictures. They're just showing you the steps here. So, so then you're going to start to put in these contour lines, and every line will represent 50 more meters up. So you're like it's like you're going up a hill. So you're going 50 meters up here, 100, so 50, 100, and then you just keep going. And one thing to note here is when you're by a creek here, it actually is going to be a little bit coming in just for the same reason as it does here, because it kind of erodes the land here. And so as you see, they kept filling in more and more. And you can see that right along in here, it goes up pretty fast. It goes up 50 meters and then 50 meters pretty quickly as it goes up this hill here. And so that's going to be a cliff. The more gradual a slope is, it's going to be more of a hill. So that's sort of going to be what your final island will look like. You're also going to want to make a profile of your island. So, and what that is I'll just show it to you instead of reading those directions. You just take a slice, just to make a line through your island. And it says to draw it through the center of your map. And it says to draw the line through the wide part of the island to try to capture the high and the low points. So let's see if they did that here. So that's pretty much, yeah, that's right through the middle and the widest part. Okay, so let's take a look at what they did. You start with a line, the first line you come to, the first contour line. And what you're doing is you're making this profile down here. And this is in meters, so that's your 0, 100, 200. So this is 0. So you're just going to draw a line down to your 0. And then you've got the next line that you come to here. That's going to be 50, because every line up is 50. So each contour line is a 50-meter interval. So you got 50 there. The next one's going to be 100. The next one's going to be 150, and so on. But as you can see, because these are coming closer together, so this is like a bird's eye view. And what this is going to give you is a sideways view if you were looking at the island from like a ship or something. And so what you'll do eventually is you'll connect those lines to show that's what it would look like if you were looking at it from the side. You could see that this is where that cliff is. Let's take a look and see. Oh yeah, it's real close together here. Here's another cliff. Does that match up here? Yep, looks like there's a steep drop off there. So the other thing, so that's another thing you'll have to do in your lab. And let's see here. They've labeled all the different, well, they've only labeled the 100 up 100, and that's fine. They've labeled the cliff and the valley. And the other things that they want you to do, which they don't show you on here, is you want to make it shows you here that you want to make a compass. So you're just going to make a circle with north-south direction. And what I was going to do is show you over here on this website called Twidla that you can actually use your mouse and you can draw on here. So I'm just going to draw, that would be the compass, where you'd have your north, south, east, and west. And so that's got to go on your map too. It's a little bit cumbersome. I remember learning never eat shredded wheat. So that's how you remember how north, east, south, west. That's a little little sentence I learned about that. But this is where you could actually do your drawing over here. You start off with the island, however you're going to make it, and you have that at 0, and then you would go ahead. Oh, they said to put put in the river, any kind of creeks you might have. Maybe there's a creek here. Then you do your high points. And so this is, I'm not going to go through this whole thing because it would take me a while to do it, but you want to do that. And then you also want to, if you add colors and such to this, like let's say you make this line blue, you can work on the colors over here, and I'll let you mess around with that. But then you would want to write down here that that equals the stream. So you'd write stream out. You could also type that out. There's a text here, so that might make it easier. But what you could do then is take a screenshot of this. And for a Mac, you would do Command-Shift-4, and then you just highlight your picture, and it takes a picture of it, and it goes straight to my desktop. I believe for the PCs, it might be Control-4. You have to look that up. Just do a Google search and look up what a PC, the command key controls for to make a screenshot. And then you could just take your screenshot and attach it to your document. So here's the lab document. Now it does show you the directions on here. So you really don't have to download this, not this one, but the other one we were just looking at over here. So it shows you the directions. If you go back over here, there's another, here I'll pause this again and I'll bring it up. It's just the lab itself, so we already saw that. And again, you could do this with pen and pencil and do it all colorful if you want. And you're going to keep reading this to teach you a little bit more about maps and the profiles. So that's the first lab. Make sure you turn it in. You'll want to turn it in. Come over here again. Show you the Dropbox. Be sure to, when you turn it into the Dropbox, which is down here, there's always a yellow folder here, that you're going to get a shareable link for me. You're not going to send this as an email if you do a Google Doc. If you do a Word doc, you're just going to browse your computer and find it here. But this one, you're going to share, and then you're going to get a shareable link. Don't email it to me. Get a shareable link, and then copy and paste this. You can use your keyboard commands, Command-C or Control-C, which is the best way to do it. A lot of people are having trouble pasting this in, and we figured out that if you just use the command controls on your key controls, then that you can just get it on there real easily. Command paste or Control paste or Control V. Sorry, not command. Command would be for a MacBook, but Control would be for a PC. So there it is. Hope you have a easy time with this lab, and please let me know if you have any questions.